What's up, guys? Happy Thursday. Hope you had a great day off. I know I had a great day of rest. Huge slate today, 13 games, a lot to get into. We only have 45 minutes to get through it, so we'll do our best. Nick, how we doing? How we feeling about today?
Yeah, good man. Like you said, a lot to get through, but it feels good to be back. But yeah, we're going from 0 to 60 real quick.
So, yeah, there's a few big spots to talk about on this slate. I mean, I think the number one thing, if you're playing on FanDuel today, Scotty Barnes is only 3,500. I see absolutely no reason not to play him in 100% of your lineups. We haven't projected for 35%. This is due to one of our data providers having him listed as out. So he is still questionable. It's not a guarantee he plays. RJ Barrett was already ruled out, but I think that's like the huge spot on the slate. And then with Luca out, Dallas is going to give us some value. And we'll get into some other teams. But was there any other huge spots you think kind of shaped the slate today?
I mean, huge, probably not. Like you said, I mean, the Barnes thing on FanDuel is massive, even more so now with RJ Barrett out. So, like, that's a situation we're going to have to monitor regardless. You brought up Dallas, that's a really big one. But no, man, I think, yeah, everything else, there's stuff to talk about, but nothing that is as big as that.
So, like I said, we have about 3 minutes per game. So, we're going to try to just get through these. I mean, we've had really short slates recently, so we've had more time to get into it. Today, we're going to not get as into it. But if you have questions about something more specific, please throw that in the chat. I see Landon here first. Don, boys. What's up, players? Darnell, good to see you. Will we be advocating for Ben Simmons? Asks Jose. I believe we will.
Yeah. I
So let's
mean,
it's the
you,
net the Nets are a
yeah,
dumpster fire, but that's Nick's expertise there. So
yeah. I mean, if we want to start there, we can.
yeah, let's
We
go
did just
for
get
it.
Yeah, we did just get word that Watford's going to be out for a week. Obviously, they traded Dennis Schroeder. Schroeder was really the glue on this team. They've been far exceeding expectations, like winning games no one thinks they should. But the games that Schroeder's been out, even before the trade, they've been terrible. Still no Cam Thomas either. So yeah, this roster is not great right now. They're also missing key rotational pieces in Watford and Zaire Williams. So I do like Simmons here. He's going to be the point guard now. I know he has been playing some minutes at center. Claxton's healthy. Dayron Sharp's healthy enough. So yeah, we're going to see point guard Ben Simmons again. The issue, if there is an issue, is just that other than just him being Ben Simmons, is that he's only going to be playing around 27, maybe 30 minutes per night, and we can't really project him for 30. They seem to want to limit him. I know he played 30 against Cleveland, but Shake Milton got into foul trouble that game. So I think we project him for 27 to 28 minutes on DK, where he's 5,400. He's just a good play. Like, I'm not rushing to get to him, but it's a competitive matchup here against a banged up Toronto team that's not very good on defense anyway. He does everything. I mean, his usage should easily exceed 20%. So he checks a lot of boxes. It's just, I don't know. I'm never excited to play someone who's probably not going to play 30 minutes. But if there was ever a matchup for it, it is probably here. And again, they're pretty thin otherwise, even not just counting the Schroeder trade. So I do like Simmons here. I don't want my whole night to depend on him. I'm going to take a quick look at ownership. 18 on DK, 18 on FanDuel. I'm honestly comfortable being a little bit over that. Like, I think I have him at about 30% of my lineups on FanDuel right now. He is in my main single entry over on DK where he's cheaper. I know it doesn't feel good, but they need his ball handling right now. And he's going to have to do it here. So, yeah, it never feels great, but yeah, we're going to have to advocate for Simmons a little bit.
Nice. Yeah, I'm getting a decent amount of Ben Simmons, about 20% on both sides. I am getting more of Cameron Johnson. To me, that's the main spot on this team. 8.2 OF index. It's still not great considering the 7,100 price tag. He's pulling some ownership, but I think he's easier to get to on FanDuel versus DraftKings. Still getting there on both sites. FanDuel values not great. DFS, Keon Johnson, Dayron Sharp are above Cam Johnson. So I'm getting a little bit of all of these guys. I did want to ask you about Dayron Sharp though on DraftKings at 3,600.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, with Watford out, you'd think he'd see more minutes. It's like his minutes have slowly been creeping up. He got up to 19 against Cleveland, who's a pretty big team. Toronto here without Podol, they're small. So I do think there's a world where the Nets could play a little bit smaller. But if you're going to get 18 minutes out of him at that price, I think playing 150 lineups, you're fine to get to a few shares. Like, I don't know. I'd want maybe 5%. I wouldn't go over that. Definitely not someone you want your night to rely on. And Claxton's underpriced too, so I don't mind him. But yeah, they could play small here. We could see some Finney Smith at the 5.
And real quick, we're about to get to Toronto anyway, but Scotty Barnes was ruled in. He is playing today. Davion Mitchell's ruled out, so we'll take a look at Toronto in just a moment. I do want to mention with the Nets, with Cam Thomas, Dennis Schroeder, Trendon Watford, and Zaire Williams off the court, it's not a huge sample, but Ben Simmons' usage is still below 20%. It's not great. Jalen Wilson, 22%. It's really the most significant thing because Cam Johnson is at a 25% usage, which is pretty good. And so I don't know, maybe Cam Johnson's a little bit overowned on FanDuel, but I still think he's the main spot for me here.
Yeah, and the bit about the usage, I don't think Jalen Wilson's going to start. I think they're
Okay.
going to continue to put Keon Johnson at the two. I think that provides better spacing. Jalen's good, but yeah, I think they like him coming off the bench right now. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But I do think that does create a little bit more usage for the likes of Johnson and Simmons.
Nice. And I do have Keon Johnson as a decent value play on FanDuel at 4,100, only projected for 4% ownership. If he does start, that'll probably come up a little bit, but we can still get there. He's going to be under 10% owned either way. He does have about a 19% usage, so it's not great, but it's also not awful considering the price.
Yeah, they're super thin right now, and like I can't say I'm pumped to play these secondary plays, but they are viable to mix in.
So let's take a look at Toronto. We're going to have to come back to this because Davion Mitchell is still listed in for 23 minutes. But I mean, do you just anticipate a lot of those minutes going to Jacoby Walter? Maybe Jamal Sheed will get a bump from the 15 we haven't projected for.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to give both of them the bump. I'm trying to see anyone else on this team that could actually play the point. I mean, we're going to get Point Barnes here, if we're being
Yeah.
honest, which is tremendous. On FanDuel, he should be in 100% of your lineups. I don't care if he plays 20 minutes, he should still be in 100% of your lineups. On DK, I mean, he's still tournament viable. I like Grady Dick. I think he's safer than some of these other cheap guards like Walter, like Sheed, but at the same time, he's not a ball handler. He's kind of a spot up shooter. So, yeah, we have to boost both those guys. I think Walter has shown to be the more consistent of the two, probably is the higher floor. But I haven't seen a ton of him. But Sheed, I mean, he's had a pretty good fantasy point per minute rate. Last game against Chicago, got on the floor for 12 minutes, had 25 fantasy points. So if he suddenly gets 25-ish minutes, I mean, that's a guy who could really, really produce. And I think the ownership comes up on him, but if he's not going to start, and I don't think he will, probably not as much as it should. So definitely keep an eye on Sheed as a tournament play. Fine getting to Walter as well, but I don't know. He's kind of more of the mid-range, like safer but not exciting option here. But again, it is a good matchup.
This is in the second set of games. It doesn't start right at lock, so we might get some more updated ownership information. What you mentioned about Walter versus Sheed, like I would guess Walter starts here, and RJ Barrett's been running the point anyway, so yeah, Scotty Barnes should definitely be running the point, but I want to see what the ownership difference is between Walter and Sheed, because if it's significant, then I think Sheed's going to be a pretty decent, deep, like GPP pivot. And then,
Yeah, I agree. I do think it's going to be Walter who starts because they're going to
yeah.
put Barnes at the point guard. But yeah, I think Sheets has the higher ceiling, even coming off the bench. So again, I'll keep an eye on the ownership. If they're both low owned, like I said, I think Walter's probably a little safer. But at the same time, if no one's playing Sheet, everyone's playing Walter, that's a very, very logical pivot to be making in tournaments.
And so with Pirtle out, Kelly Olynyk is like, we haven't projected for 20 minutes, and I really don't think he's going to play 20 minutes. I think it's too much. He hasn't played more than 15 all season. He played 13 last game when they probably could have used his help. I don't think he starts for Pirtle. It's probably going to be Fernando. So Kelly Olynyk, I mean, 4,400 on FanDuel at power forward. I think it's okay to get some, but I really think the 20-minute projection is a little bit high. Who's going to start? Bruno Fernando? Do we even have him listed
I was
here?
just going to say they could go small. Mogbo could start at the five. It could be Barnes, Dick, Walter, Agbaji, Mogbo, or yeah, I think that's the most likely lineup, honestly. But if not, it is going to be Fernando at the five. We've seen him start a few times this year.
I actually wouldn't mind if Mobo started because at his 5K price, it would make the decision for me easy, and I just could not lose money on one of these Toronto bigs today.
Yeah, I don't think we've gotten them right often this season. I mean, um,
The
yeah,
minutes
Mogbo's
just
been
aren't there.
disappointing. hmm
They're
That's
like
tough.
splitting them. And then,
It
not,
would. I would love to play Kelly O, but yeah, he's working back
yeah.
from an injury. His conditioning's not where it needs to be, so it sucks.
Oh, yeah. If I knew with 100% certainty Kelly O was playing 20 minutes today, I'd be very interested on FanDuel, but I just really don't think he can. I do want to mention Chris Boucher is there. He hasn't been playing any center minutes in the last few games, but maybe they try it today. I don't think they have a real big need for size against Brooklyn anyway, so that's a possible GPP spot at 3,800 over on DraftKings.
Yeah, he's a point per minute beast whenever he gets run. I mean, he does have upside. He's cheap enough. I'm fine getting to some.
And Power says, won't they need Scotty at the 4 with a complete trash at the 5? The thing is, it's like the NBA is kind of positionless now. And so as long as Scotty Barnes is on the court, I don't think it really matters if he's running the point or if he's, because he doesn't really play in the paint anyway. He's not sitting there asking for post up. So either way, as long as he's on the court, he should be fine. I do want to go to this first game, Detroit, Utah. I think this is one of the other big spots on the slate. Cade Cunningham is projected to be the mega chalk at max price, and I think it's correct against Utah. 13.5 OF index. You love to see it. What do we like about Detroit today?
Yeah, I mean, Detroit looks good. They are getting Tobias Harris back, which is notable. But at the same time, they're missing Ivy, a few other rotational pieces. Cunningham's been excellent. I mean, in matchups where it's favorable for point guards, he's really crushed, and he's definitely getting that here against the Jazz. He's reasonably priced compared to some of the other pay-ups. I'll say the one knock on him is locking that in early. It's going to be tougher to pivot as the night kind of goes on and we get more news. But I don't know. Pre-flop, he looks excellent. Gonna have to keep an eye on the starting lineup. Thompson had an excellent game last time out. That was in the absence of Tobias Harris. Ivy had that late scratch. Malik Beasley's been excellent. I've been playing him a ton, but at the same time, I almost like him coming off the bench because he's seen such a massive usage right there. So I don't know. Detroit looks good. I love Cunningham. Can't fault anyone for playing him. I think Beasley looks good. And then Thompson's fine even coming off the bench. I don't want to play any Hardaway. I know before we started recording, though, you mentioned Jalen Duran, and I'm definitely interested. Isaiah Stewart out as well. He should have to play a few more minutes at center tonight than usual.
Yeah, I'm taking a massive stand on Jalen Duran today. So with Isaiah Stewart out in the previous game, Jalen Duran played 32 minutes. That's including almost 5 minutes in overtime. So if you give him 27, but he picked up his fourth foul 2.5 minutes into the third quarter, did not play the rest of the third quarter, and then played like 11 minutes in the fourth quarter, all of overtime. So 32 minutes. We have Jalen Duran projected for 28. I really think that he can get 30 plus with Isaiah Stewart out, because the main knock on Duran was he wasn't getting the minutes, but I think they need a big man against Kessler, John Collins, and Markkanen. I don't think they can go small with like Tobias at the 5 or anything.
No.
And their other backup big is Paul Reed, who I think is a decent GPP play over on DraftKings. He's actually rated out as one of the highest values, but I really think Duran is just such a spot today, and he's pulling some ownership on DraftKings, 19%. I still think it's too low for 5,500. FanDuel, we can only play one center. I think this guy has 50 plus potential, so I'm very comfortable getting well over the 12% there.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to get over the field. I do think there's a lot of good centers in that 5 to 6K range today, though. I mean, we're going to talk about Capella. We got, it's Missy's been seeing more minutes for the Pelicans. There's a few others I'm forgetting. But yeah, I think the ownership, the biggest reason it's kind of down is just because there's a lot of great options in that range. But I agree. I think Duran is definitely one of the best, if not the best.
And then as far as Asar Thompson, he's 4,400 on DraftKings, so 5,200 on FanDuel. If he's not starting, I'm not going to be interested in. But I actually am wondering if he could start next to Cade Cunningham, because they did start Tim Hardaway, Malik Beasley, and Asar last game with Tobias out. But with Tobias back, I think it's better if they just move Malik Beasley to the bench, let him run the bench unit. Asar still starts. The thing is, he randomly played 27 minutes. That's including a couple in overtime. It's like twice as much as he had played in any other game, so it's really hard to project his minutes. But the 4,400 price, we can probably still take shots.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Asar's kind of a tricky situation. I mean, this kid's super talented. We know we already love Eamon for Houston. They're literally twins. But Asar kind of plays bigger. He plays a bigger game. I mean, we see him in the paint a lot. So with Harris back, I'm not as confident he's going to start. I think he should personally. And knowing Bickerstaff, which is kind of a tough thing to know, he was brought into Detroit to kind of develop these players. Like he did that in Cleveland. He did a good job with Garland. A lot of these young guys, he's there to kind of help Cade be Cade and Osser be Osser. And yeah, I think they want to ramp his minutes up as quickly as possible. Very soon we should see him starting. If not tonight, it's coming for sure.
I like it. And just get to a quick question. No Davion Mitchell, so you think Sheed'll get the start over Walter? Dick will be a great play either way. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We should get that starting lineup, I guess, right at lock. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, and I like Sheed even if he doesn't start. I don't think he'll start. It wouldn't shock me, but yeah, I don't think he's going to start.
And Landon, I'll answer this real quick. Top FanDuel cash besides Cunningham and Scotty. We'll just go ahead and sort by ownership. Pretty sure Quentin Grimes is in here somewhere. Yeah, Quentin Grimes.
Kyrie.
Yeah, Kyrie, probably Cam Johnson in there. Brandon Miller, 7K is just incorrect. So yeah,
He
he's
just got
probably
ruled out.
cash. Oh, he just got ruled out. Perfect.
Yeah,
So
so
don't
maybe
even.
Bridges instead. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll look at Bridges. I mean, Kaminga 6,200, assuming he's starting, is probably okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically just. I mean, the for such a large slate, like I still would expect a couple more guys to be higher owned.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting, especially since we can pretty much do whatever we want on FanDuel with that free square at win price. So, um, yeah, it's going to be high scoring. It's going to be a high scoring day today. Don't be shocked if you're scoring 380, 400 points over there and barely cashing. So, you got to like all the spots in your lineup today. Not the day to take crazy risk, but if you are taking risks, make them in ownership, not in guys that don't always get minutes, in my opinion.
Let's knock out Boston real quick. I'm getting between 2 and 4% of all the starters. I don't have any priorities. I didn't touch any of them. Whatever I got, I'm okay with. Indifferent.
Yeah, the only thing I want to bring up is I'm bullish on Pritchard. I really like this
Okay.
matchup for him. Chicago's defense is terrible. No one is playing him. We'll find a lot of good plays at 6K on this slate. Not a ton of point guard, though. I think Pritchard is someone I'm probably going to get 10, maybe 15% of. I think on both sides, he's pretty interesting. And again, I don't mind that he's coming off the bench. If you look at his game logs, I think he's gone for 35 plus, like 19 of 20, something ridiculous like that. So he's a guy who's getting overlooked, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, I could get to a couple percent of Pritchard. Don't hate that. Looking at the other side, Chicago, out of my 150 on DraftKings, 150 on FanDuel, I have one share of Kobe White. That's my only exposure. Are you getting to anybody on Chicago?
No, really don't like the matchup. I mean, all this trade talk about Levine, I don't know. It doesn't really move the needle for me. If anything, maybe some Giddy just because he's been playing well. But this is kind of the worst matchup possible for him. So, yeah, no Bulls for me today.
I will mention, and this might be bad analysis, but Boston really does play down to their competition. They're 15-point
Yeah,
favorites, and I don't know how many times they haven't covered these gigantic spreads. So at these ownerships, I don't hate mixing in a couple shares of any of these guys as GPP plays.
totally fair.
Yeah, Porzingis is in. Hauser just got ruled out too. Giddy just got ruled out. So actually, that might open up something on Chicago. We'll come back to this in a few minutes. Let's go to the second game on the slate that I don't think is that interesting. OKC Orlando. Did you have anything on either side?
Not really. I do think it's a decent bounce back spot for SGA coming off the terrible NBA Cup performance. No one wants to pay up for him today. Cade is getting all the ownership. If you can find the extra salary, getting a 1 to 2% owned SGA makes some sense. Other than that, really nothing for OKC. Tristan Da Silva probably going to get the start again. Had his first kind of really good game, starting on the wing there with Banchero and Franz Wagner out. I don't mind mixing him in as a value piece. And then Jalen Suggs and Goga are just kind of priced where they should be. I'm fine getting to them, but no priorities there in that game at all, really.
Yeah, it looks like I'm getting a few percent of Mo Wagner. What do we have him projected for? 15 and 11. I'm just over the field on both sides. I think that will change. Maybe DraftKings at 4,700, but he's center only, so it's a little bit tough.
Oh,
And
we're
then
good.
Wendell Carter on DraftKings. Where's Wendell Carter? He looks okay. He's 2% owned, so I have like 12% right now. I'll probably turn that down. Actually, not really getting to much else except a couple percent of SGA, like as Nick said, a GPP shot.
Oh,
What is the next game? Charlotte, Washington. This one's pretty interesting. Let's go ahead and look at Charlotte or let's look at Washington first. We'll give the model a second to update on Brandon Miller. I was looking at Jordan Poole as a pretty strong play here. I like Koulibaly as a GPP play. What else do you have for Washington?
nothing really. I do like Koulibaly. I'm going to be interested to see who's starting here. They are getting Carrington and Brogdon back tonight. Um, I don't think I want to play either of them, but it could take Champagne out of the starting lineup. So that's just something to keep an eye on. But yeah, I think Poole's fine. I like Koulibaly. He's his price. I don't know. It's giving me a little bit of sticker shock, but at the same time, the matchup's so good, it should kind of offset that. So I'm fine getting to those two. I mean, it is a great matchup, but they're getting a bunch of bodies back. So to me, they're a little bit overpriced, generally speaking.
And then I was initially getting I was getting like twice the field of this on DraftKings for Alexander Sarr. I turned it down. I'm not getting that anymore. But what do you think about him tonight?
He's good, but like I said, I mean, there's a ton of good centers in that 5K range. We do get power forward eligibility for him, so it's a little bit more of a reason to maybe mix him in. But yeah, if you like Duran, you like Capella, it's kind of tough to get to Sar. But yeah, he's in play for sure.
Okay, nice. Charlotte's still updating on Brandon Miller, so hopefully I remember to come back to that after we go over this next game. We already talked about Brooklyn, Toronto, Chicago, Boston. Let's do a Golden State, Memphis. I didn't really have much going on in this game either, did you?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing to really note is that Schroeder's going to be here tonight for Golden State after that trade. Will he start? I'm not sure. Don't really want to play him, but it could cut into the likes of Wiggins, Kuminga, etc. Starting lineup's going to be interesting too. I think they'd probably go with Draymond at the five. I have seen other sites having Draymond coming off the bench with Looney starting. I don't think we see that here necessarily. But yeah, other than maybe mixing Curry into tournaments, I mean, Kuminga, Wiggins, Draymond, all fine for their price, but nothing I'm bullish on that side. I will say though, on the other side, Bain and Morant and Jackson all feel a little bit cheap for what they're capable of. So those three, I'm pretty bullish on. And then if Zach Edey starts on DK at 4,300, he's going to look tremendous as a center play. Don't know that he will. And even off the bench, I mean, he probably has enough upside to justify that price point. Overpriced on FanDuel, but I do like Edey on DK. And then that big three of Morant, Bain, and Jackson, I think they're all a little bit underpriced for one of the highest total games on the slate, 236 and a half, excuse me, last time I checked.
I like it. Yeah. Zach Edey on DraftKings is a main piece I'm getting to here. A few percent of those GPP plays that Nick mentioned. And then I think Jaren Jackson's actually my favorite. I really like the bigs here. Zach Edey, Jaren Jackson, and then Brandon Clark showing 1% ownership at 4,200 on DraftKings. I think he's worth more than 1% with Zach Edey coming in at 21. I mean, stuff happens, foul trouble, whatever.
Yeah. I just wouldn't play them in the same lineup. I think
Yeah.
if we want more minutes going to Edey, that's going to cut into Clark directly.
Yeah. These are rules that I would set today. Max one of those guys, not including Jaren Jackson, but I might do that anyway. From the Golden State side, it's so tough with Dennis Schroeder. Kerr said that he expects him to start. I don't see. I mean, Kuminga might be the only guy that I'm pretty interested in here. 20% on FanDuel, 10% on DraftKings at 6,200. It's probably okay.
Yeah, Kuminga, Wiggins, a little bit overpriced, but similar upside. So those two are the only ones that are kind of standing out. And even then, I'm not that excited to get to them.
Nice. The next game where I'm getting some decent exposure to Atlanta Spurs. Let's start with Atlanta. What are you getting from this side?
Yeah, I mean, Capella becomes very interesting here. Kongwu's out. He's going to miss a few games, so they're a little bit thin in the front court. Larry Nance, I mean, I've seen at least one projected lineup have him starting tonight. I don't think they go with him here. He's been pretty bad. But yeah, he'd be someone we'd want to get to his value if he does slide into the starting lineup. But yeah, I think we could trust Capella a little more than usual. Kongwu's been playing more minutes than him on most nights. Whenever we get Capella like over that 25-ish minutes mark, he's going to be good value play. And then DeAndre Hunter, someone even coming off the bench, I think could see extended run here, taking some of those minutes from Okongwu. So those two I'm really bullish on. Fine getting to Trey. Reassure's been terrible. Not really getting to Dyson Daniels. But Bogdanovic, another guy off the bench, hasn't been shooting well, but still very cheap. If his shot starts to fall, he's going to look pretty good. So I like Capella a lot. Going to keep an eye on that ownership, though. There's plenty of pivots. And I really, really do like Hunter here, even coming off the bench. I think if he could get to 30 minutes, he's going to look great. On both sides, really.
Yeah, model identifying Capella is a very, very strong value on both sides. I think he's top three both sides. We only have him projected for 15 and 11% ownership at this mid 5K price. Projected for 29 minutes. Even at 29 minutes, this is super wrong. I know it's a huge slate. We have a lot of centers today, but model's telling us Clint Capella is one of the best. 9.3 OF index. What player were we looking at earlier that had like a 7-something OF index at 7K or something? Like, just saying Clint Capella is really, really strong play today.
Definitely.
Getting Trey Young as a GPP play and Jalen Johnson too. How much were you getting of those guys?
Yeah, I mean, I'm mixing them in. I think I prefer Johnson of the two, but at the same time, I mean, Trey is the same ceiling, so just keep an eye on ownership between them. But yeah, I'd be fine. I don't know. Are they popular right now? I don't think so.
Trey, no, but Jalen is a little bit on DraftKings. I get it at the 8,400 price.
Yeah, he's underpriced on DK, so I think I'd at least match the field on DK. Trey, play 10%. You're already over the field. I think he's worthy of that.
Love it. And then, Nance is going to be a tough one because it's not like we're going to get a word from the coach. Yeah, we expect Nance to play 14 minutes off the bench, assuming he's not starting, which I don't think he does. He's power forward on both sides, 3,200 on DraftKings, already projected for 15% ownership in 17 minutes. I think he's got to be fine with a Kongwu out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to like him, but I kind of
Nope.
do.
Yeah.
If he
Yeah.
starts, he's probably going to be over-owned, and like I'm going to be trying to get away from him as chalk. But coming off the bench, I mean, the ceiling's there. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. He could play 15 minutes and get 25 fantasy points. No one's going to be shocked.
Other side of this game, San Antonio. I was interested in Chris Paul and Wemby as GPP plays. Wasn't looking at too much elsewhere. Are you? Oh, Sochan too. Sochan, I think, is decent.
Yeah, as long as Sochan starts, which he should, I think he's fine. Castle is back and healthy. He's been kind of banged up. But yeah, they're paced up here. This is a good matchup. I think all the starters, maybe with the exception of Barnes and Champagne, I have interest in. The only reason I don't have interest in those two is, I don't know, they're just kind of priced where they should be. I'm not that excited to get there. They can spike a ceiling. But yeah, I think Paul looks good. Sochan looks really good as long as he's starting. And then Wemby's Wemby, obviously massive, massive upside if you can afford him. But on a site like FanDuel where you have power forward eligibility tonight and you have that free square, I'm getting to more Wemby than usual. So definitely bullish on him here.
Yeah, I'm over the field on DraftKings as well, but definitely a lot easier to fit him in. I mean, like Nick said earlier, we can do anything we want on FanDuel today. And
Yeah.
then I was looking at Devin Vassell, 5,200 on DraftKings, projected for 6% ownership. We have him projected for 27 minutes. I think he's fine to mix in a little bit more than 6%.
Yeah, on DK, sure. At 5,200, he's fine. On FanDuel, I wouldn't pay 5.9.
I still think, well, no, I didn't get any on
I get
FanDuel, so I
it. Like
can't say that, but
he just really needs a shot to fall. They're also getting Trey Jones back. Like this is as healthy as they've been, I think, all season. Jones hasn't played in 2 weeks. Like if he's, I'd be shocked if he's out of the rotation. I don't know who's going to lose minutes first. They really like Castle, suddenly the front runner for Rookie of the Year with the injuries going on. So I don't know, man. This is a tough rotation right now to really nail down, but it's a damn good matchup. You could make an argument to play almost anyone.
going to the next game. Let's start with Houston. It's Houston Pelicans. My problem here is, did we get an update on Sengun?
Not that I saw.
Yeah, because it's Steven Adams. I'm not expecting to play, and so we'd be looking at another super value center in Jock Landale. I think if Sengun gets ruled out, if Sengun plays, I think he's a fine GPP play. He's pulling some ownership. So, what do you want to do with that situation?
In the front court, I mean, if Sengun, I think Sengun plays. Honestly, I'd be kind of
Okay.
surprised if he sat. Um, yeah, just another team that's mostly kind of priced where they should be. They're pretty healthy right now. Eason's back on DK at 4,800. I know if you're looking at game logs, we haven't really seen the upside lately. He's too cheap for what he's capable of. So I really do like Eason here. Thompson's been excellent. And then, yeah, Van Fleet and Green feel too cheap for what they're capable of. I mean, you could really make an argument for a lot of these guys. But again, they're getting healthy. But with Adams out, yeah, I mean, Sengun a little safer than usual. I wouldn't get to Landale unless Sengun's out. But yeah, Van Fleet, Green, okay. Smith, pretty good. Eason on DK for sure. And then Thompson's fine in tournaments on both sides. So yeah, I like Houston a lot. It's just tough to really nail down like the one or two plays I want to be super heavy on. Probably just have one or two max in lineups, but yeah, they look damn good here.
Yeah, I'm only getting to a few percentage of each of these guys.
Yeah,
I guess Jalen Green on DraftKings is the one I'm getting the most at 10%. So
I like
looking
it.
looking at the other side, the Pelicans. What do we do with the Pelicans, man?
Yeah, Ingram's out, right? So no Zion,
Yeah.
obviously, still. They're banged up. Missy has been playing more minutes. He's another one of these centers that we can kind of mix into that 5K range that we can be pretty bullish on. He's shown a lot of upside lately. 3 games straight playing over 30 minutes. Even if Sengun's in, I don't mind the matchup for him. So definitely getting to him plenty here. Trey Murphy, someone we're always pretty happy to get to. Fine. Thin forward position. Not crazy about McCollum at his price. If you're getting to him, fine. Same with DeJounte Murray. They're just priced where they should be. But I will say Murphy looks good and Missy looks really, really good to me. I'm going to keep an eye on the ownership. 16 on DK, 13 on FanDuel. But yeah, just kind of joining that group with Capella, Duran as like these nice kind of cheap centers tonight. He's definitely one you want to mix in with that group.
Yeah, I think I need to change my stuff around because I'm only getting a few percent of Missy, but I did put him on my list. I'm running the Discord Q&A today. After we finish here in about 15, I'll go on for another half hour. Anything else we missed in the Discord, instructions to join that are in the description below. But the model's identifying Missy as a good play. So this 16%, 13% ownership is probably appropriate. For me, that's really, I mean, Trey Murphy, I have mild interest in, but it's kind of tougher to get there at his price and especially against Houston.
Yeah, I mean, I like Murphy just because the usage has been there. He's been over 20% pretty consistently, but I get it. I mean, the price is climbing.
Let's see if we can get back to Charlotte real quick. Look at how much LaMelo we're going to be interested in today.
Mhm.
All right, so Brandon Miller's out. LaMelo 11.9 OF index compared to the other guys on the slate today. 11.9 for LaMelo at 9,900. We have some plays that the model likes a little bit more, but at 5%, I definitely think we can mix in LaMelo. So yeah, what do you want to do with Charlotte?
Yeah, I mean, the LaMelo issue again is just the minutes. Like, if he was playing 30 and we were confident of that against the Wizards, like, I'd definitely get to a bunch of him. But yeah, I like Bridges, and Bridges is another one of these guys. Like, I don't know that he's going to play 30 plus minutes, but at the same time, he's been so productive when he is on the floor. I'm pretty comfortable getting to him. Probably going to see Green and Martin starting. You can mix them in as value. Tough for me to ever get excited about playing those guys, though. And then the front court, we have Richards and Williams. I'm not getting to either just because I can't really pick between the two. It's a good matchup, but we've already listed like 7 5K centers that we like. So I just don't see the need. Like LaMelo in tournaments, I like Bridges everywhere. But those are really the only two plays.
Yep, same here. I wanted to have interest in Mark Williams, but 17 minutes is just not going to get it done.
Yeah.
Next game, Clippers Dallas. This is a fun one. No Luca tonight. I'm pretty sure Kyrie plays. PJ Washington's in. Najee Marshall is not on the injury report, so he's good to go. Kind of like a lot of this team. What's the starting point?
Probably Kyrie. I mean, whenever Luke is out, we probably have to start with Kyrie. He looks really good. And then Quentin Grimes probably going to slide in the starting lineup in that spot for Luca. Good defender, probably going to be glued to Harden for most of the night, so could see more minutes than usual. And we've been pretty bearish on PJ Washington since Luca's been back, but whenever one of these guards are out, he does have upside, so I'd be fine mixing him in. And I keep going. I mean, Dinwiddie off the bench, probably going to play 24 to 26 minutes. He looks pretty good as value if you want to get to him. You could even play him in lineups with Kyrie because when Kyrie's off the floor, I think Dinwiddie's going to be on it. So they're going to be staggered for the most part. Clay is Clay, high ceiling, low floor. And again, the centers look fine here. I just prefer a bunch of other ones that are priced exactly the same. So tons of Kyrie. I think he's probably a good shot. Quentin Grimes makes sense. Just confirm he's starting. And usually we have this conversation of, oh, maybe they'll finally start Jaden Hardy with Luca out, but Hardy's out as well. So we don't really have to worry about that here. So it's probably going to be Grimes in the starting lineup. Going to look at like good value, and he's guard and forward eligibility, which helps his cause as well.
Nice. Yeah, it's so with Kyrie, it's a tough matchup against the Clippers. The price is wrong for Luca being out, but I just want to point out he only has a 29% usage rate. We would really expect that to be I don't know, 33, 34%. Just weird to see it under 30 when Luca's out. PJ Washington 18% usage rate, Najee Marshall 21% usage rate. Quinn Grimes 18% usage rate, and this is with about 200 minutes, so it's a decent sample. Spencer Dinwiddie 18% usage rate, Klay Thompson 23, which is higher than everyone except Kyrie, but still not great.
Yeah, I think like people make the mistake, or they used to, like when Luka was out, Kyrie was like the lock of all locks. I don't want to make it seem like he is, but I mean, I don't know. His price is just too cheap for this role. He should be closer to 9K. So I'm super heavy on him here, and I don't know. I get the argument for pivoting because there's a ton of good guards in that range. So if you want to pivot, fine. It's a decent way to get different tonight. But at the same time, I mean, 8,200, 8,100. If he gets 45 to 50, you're probably in pretty good shape, even on a slate when you need a lot of scoring. So I like him.
I
Um,
will I will
but
mention I'm only getting 30% Kyrie on DraftKings. I'm up at 50 on FanDuel, so and I actually think that's going to come up once I play with this a little bit more. Uh,
nice.
Last thing I want to mention with Dallas is PJ Washington is showing up as one of the top values on the day. What, fourth overall on DraftKings, fifth overall on FanDuel, only projected for 10 and 15% ownership. 10.8 OF index at 6,500 is really, really strong. So him and Quentin Grimes to me are the priorities. And then Kyrie on FanDuel, very strong.
Yeah, that last stretch that Luca was out, I think he went PJ Washington for 40 plus in 5 of the 6 games. So if you get 40 out of that spot today, you're probably gonna be feeling pretty good. So definitely makes sense.
From the other side of this game, the Clippers, I have 3% Zubac on DraftKings, and that's it. Do you have any interest here?
I mean, Harden's Harden. I don't hate it. The one play I have interest in maybe this is game log watching, is Kevin Porter Jr. His fantasy point per minute rate's been ridiculous. He's playing pretty much every minute that Harden's not on the floor. We've seen his usage rate get as high as like 26% at times, which is ridiculous for him. So I'm getting to some Kevin Porter just as a way to get different tonight. But I don't know that I want to like tout him. Like I'm gonna feel bad if someone plays him, he ruins their night because I don't know. As much as I like him, he's still not the best basketball player in the world. But yeah, I'm getting to a lot of Kevin Porter right now. Maybe that changes if more value opens up. But even off the bench, I like him a lot, and no one is playing him.
Yeah, I actually don't mind that. 1% owned is kind of low. I mean, we can get 3-4% and be way over the field. We have him
Right?
projected for 24 minutes. He's played 26, 24. The 37 doesn't count, but 24 minutes. So probably a pretty decent minutes projection. I will mention he's gotten a lot of stocks. I guess literally just
Yeah.
steals the past few games, but he's been doing it. He's been getting the minutes against Dallas. I
Yeah.
don't
I
hate it.
mean,
Yeah.
at that price, like you don't even need him to do what he's been doing. Like as long as he's in that kind of range, like I feel pretty good.
And then, yeah, Harden. I wouldn't mind getting a couple percent of Harden. I
Yeah,
just feel like
Powell too was fine. You mentioned Zoo. Like those guys are just priced where they should be. Like so they're good plays, but not priorities.
next game, Indiana, Phoenix. Getting a decent amount of Indiana. Who do you like here?
Not much. I mean, we get Halliburton on the road, so I'm not getting to him. Kind of sticking to that narrative this season, even though he has been playing a bit better on the road lately. I mean, if anything, maybe Siakam. Turner's just kind of a bit overpriced, in my opinion. They are getting Nemhard back too. So yeah, I'm honestly not getting that much of Indiana. I'm curious what you're getting to here.
On DraftKings, nothing basically.
Oh,
On
I thought you
Fan,
just said you're getting a lot. My bad.
oh, on FanDuel, I'm getting a 17% Pascal,
Okay.
10% TJ, 12% Benedict Mathurin, and then a few percent of a Nemhard. And I think I am gonna bump up Tyrese a little bit to at least get 2 or 3%. I mean, he's projected for 3 and 1% ownership. Maybe he's a better play on DraftKings at the 8,400 price. Tough matchup
Yeah.
against Phoenix, but I think it's worth shots and GPPs.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I mean, the price is a little bit low.
And then this 5,900 price for Benedict Mathurin on FanDuel, I'll take shots at 2%, man.
Oh, I didn't know he was 59. Yeah, definitely worth mixing in. He's
Yeah,
been
and then
like good every other game. He's due for a good one tonight if you want to play that every other narrative.
that TJ McConnell ownership I mentioned, I actually don't know if I'm going to keep that because just scrolling through my top lineups, I'm basically paying up at point guard on FanDuel, Cade Cunningham and Trae Young, Cade Cunningham and Chris Paul, I guess Trae Young and TJ. So I guess we'll see what happens there. Phoenix, anything you're looking at on Phoenix?
Not particularly. I do think it's worth noting that Beal's probably active but likely limited. I think Durant and Booker are okay. Like they're fine. Again, kind of priced where they should be. I do think Tyus Jones is still in play. Like when Beal's full go, I don't like playing him when the whole big three is healthy, but I don't think we can really qualify them that way right now. So fine getting to Jones, Booker, Durant, fine. Don't play any Beal in my opinion. And then again, I'd rather play the 5K centers than I would 6K Nurkic.
Yeah, I will say Booker's the only player showing up in my exposures, but Kevin Durant is not too far behind him in OF index 9K. I mean, wasn't he just in the mid eights and he was underpriced before? So maybe this is appropriate price now, but I think both of these guys are fine to pay up for today. New York and Minnesota. Josh Hart questionable with a personal tag though, so I'm pretty sure he's not playing tonight. Where do you lean on that?
I don't have a lean because I don't know what the issue is. Like, is he having a baby or is it something stupid and he's going to be with the team? He missed a flight. I don't know. I don't have a lean, honestly. Um, I don't know. If he's out, I mean, everyone's going to look even better. This is the ultimate revenge game, as this team did just have a big blockbuster trade. Um, I don't want to buy into that too much. It is one of the lowest totals on the board. But yeah, if Hart's out, Bridges and OG are going to look exceptional. Probably boost Towns and Brunson as well.
Okay, sorry. I just looked up Josh Hart real quick. He was added late due to personal reasons, and like all the Twitter comments are just saying, "I hope everything's okay." I hope everything's okay, but
Of
yeah,
course. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like you mentioned, Cat, I took all his overs today, so I really hope that he just destroys Gobert. But at 7 and 9%, he's pricey, but we can get there. On FanDuel, center only is a little bit tougher, but I don't mind getting over the field. And yeah, if Josh Hart's out, I mean, it's just a boost to everybody else, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I will say, if Hart's out, McBride probably gets overlooked. I don't know if he's gonna suddenly start or if they go with Payne or Precious, but it could be McBride that slides in the starting lineup. He's very cheap. Um, he'd probably be one guy for value if you needed to get some.
Yeah, I was looking at Precious as the guy that they start, but then what do they have? Was Jericho Sims ruled out, or we just don't have him for 10 minutes?
Well, Sims is behind Precious on the depth chart.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If Precious starts, then Sims could
Oh,
come in and back up him and Cat. But like, I think it's better if Precious starts. I don't know if they can do it though.
yeah, I think it would probably be McBride. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's tough. It's like Precious is one of Tibbs' guys, but he's not one of Tibbs' guys he's willing to run into the ground. At least not yet. So I'm kind of having issues getting to him.
Precious? Oh, he's definitely run him into the ground before.
Not, I mean, he's played 27 minutes. I mean,
Well, last season when he was needed,
yeah, that's what I'm
Tibbs left
saying.
him on
Like
the
once he's
court.
100%, if Tibbs thinks he's 100%, then oh yeah, all systems go. I just don't know that he's there yet.
I'll mention Mikal Bridges. With Josh Hart off the court, Mikal Bridges has played the most minutes, 21% usage rate. OG, 21% usage rate. Miles McBride, 18%. Jalen Brunson, 33%. Very elite. Uh, Cat, only 28%. And so it's not as large of a sample with Cat. He has less than 100 minutes with Josh Hart off the court. So that's more, or I should say that's less reliable than the other stuff, but something to consider still. And then let's knock out these last couple games real quick.
Yeah,
They're on
2 weekends.
FanDuel only, Denver and Portland. What are you looking at on Denver?
Yeah, Denver not much except for Jokic. I think he's again just pretty easy to fit today with that free square. You're taking up the center spot, but Joker is Joker. I'm fine getting to him. Really, not much else there. I think everyone's kind of priced where they should be. Aaron Gordon, if anything, feels a little bit underpriced. But yeah, that's it. Lots of Joker, some Gordon.
Yeah, that's about all I'm getting to as well over on FanDuel. What about for Portland?
Portland, not much. I mean, Simons, you can mix in. Grant. Aiton's questionable, I think. If he's out, maybe Clayton gets the start. He's been pretty productive in his absence. Only played 19 minutes last time and close to 30 fantasy points. But Robert Williams only played 16 minutes that game. So it's kind of tough in that front court, even with Aiton out, to know who to play. I think Klingon's the best backup right now. Williams is definitely the more talented player overall. But today, if Aiton's out and Klingon starts, you can play Klingon as value. It's just I don't know. If you're at that late spot, you're probably already playing like Joker at center. I don't know that you want to pivot at that point. So
Nice.
yeah, nothing really from Portland.
Okay, nice. I agree. And then let's do Lakers first. Uh, kind of liked AD, but I'm not sure I'm looking at too much else. What do you have here?
I'm fine with AD, and I think LeBron if he's in. I mean, I know he hasn't been playing well, but I don't know. He is upside at that price, but yeah, really nothing right now from LA. And Russell's little stint of playing great off the bench is over. It seems.
Yeah, hey, it comes and goes.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, I'm actually getting more LeBron than I thought I was over on FanDuel. So we have all the salary. I don't mind having that at lock though because it's going to give me a lot of flexibility to swap off later. So I'm okay. I'm okay having
Yep.
a lot of LeBron. From Sacramento, De'Aaron Fox is showing up as a strong play, or am I? He's okay. Demantis really strong. Power made a comment that he likes getting to Demantis over Wemby to save a few hundred against the Lakers. What do you think about that?
I like the Mantis a lot here. I do think he's underpriced compared to some of the other pay ups. I don't know if he's going to be hitting 60 fantasy points here like he has been lately, but point per dollar, definitely a great play. You can play him at forward as well. Makes plenty of sense. I mean, yeah, just keep an eye on the ownership. If he's not that owned, and he's not, I think he's an awesome play. So definitely getting to a lot of him. I do want to just say keep an eye on the starting lineup here. Malik Monk's been great in terms of offense, but defensively, the Kings have been struggling since they've changed that lineup. We could see Herder or Ellis take over the two, in which case Monk would come off the bench again, and he's not going to be a good play at 6,900 coming off the bench. So just keep an eye on that. But yeah, DeRozan's fine. I mean, I don't know. I'm fine with these guys, but at the same time, other than Sabonis and maybe DeRozan, it's tough to trust anyone. Just they're kind of inconsistent, generally speaking.
I don't mind getting to some De'Aaron, and then I'll just point out Malik Monk 10.7 OF index is insane.
Yeah, it's insane. He has to start though. Yeah.
Yeah, assuming he's starting, because like what you said, I think it should be Keon Ellis starting. Makes the most sense to me, but coach
Yeah,
feels
defensively,
otherwise.
that would be the guy. Yeah.
So let's build out a quick dummy and get out of here. You guys have any more questions? Go ahead and join the Discord. I'll be in there in probably like 7 minutes. Who are the first players in our DraftKings build today?
I mean, let's start with Dallas. Probably going to have to be Kyrie and Grimes, assuming Grimes starts.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. And then if we have room, we can consider PJ Washington later.
Yeah, he'd be third for me, but I don't mind him.
After that, do you like Cade Cunningham in a dummy? Pay up for 2
Yeah,
point
let's
guards?
go Cade. You can lock in Cade. I like Miles Bridges as well, 6,200.
Let's do that. Miles Bridges. We need a piece of value. The top DraftKings values for the day: Quentin Grimes, Capella, Paul Reed, PJ, Dayron Sharp, Zach Edey, Malik Beasley. So to me, Clint Capella feels pretty comfortable. You want to
Yeah, Capella's safe. If
go
Edie
ahead.
starts, I love him, but I don't know that we can guarantee that right now.
Yeah, in our dummy, we might have to slide Edey in there to make some things work. But in the mid range, did you want to slide like I don't think we can put Malik Monk in the dummy, but the model is identifying him as a very strong value on today's slate. On I guess
I mean, we
that's the
have our
night slate.
cover boy
Sorry,
we have our cover boy Ben Simmons at 5,400. If you want to use that for value,
cover
um,
boy Ben Simmons, huh?
I don't know what positions he has. Only point guard. That's weird.
I will say the model's telling us we can kind of get away from Ben Simmons if he's going to pull ownership. I'm still playing him a bit, but just want to point out he's lower
Yeah,
on the
the
model.
minutes. I wish he could play 30 plus because he'd be great here, but he's capped around 28, so I don't need him.
See what power forwards I'm getting on DraftKings. Miles Bridges, is there a better small forward we could play? Malik Beasley, did we like him enough to throw him in here, or Cam Johnson?
I mean, that price for Beasley's wrong, regardless of whether he's starting or not. I'd go with Malik.
All right, let's put Malik Beasley's 4,800, right? No, he's not. Beasley, 4,900. And then power forward Miles Bridges, 4,700 or 5,850 for a forward and a util. You have a forward you like?
In that range, it's kind of tricky. I guess maybe Eason.
Tari Eason?
Yeah, 4,800.
I was going to
It doesn't
say
feel that good, but I mean,
leave 69 at
or
util.
DeAndre Hunter.
Okay, let's try a
Yeah,
DeAndre
that's
Hunter.
good.
And
Model likes
just realized I forgot to go back over Chicago for Giddey being ruled out. I don't think we're going to be interested in too much there, but if you come in the Discord, I will talk about the model updates there. So leaves us 6,200. Jalen Green, Jonathan Kuminga, OG, Grady Dick. All seem like fine GPP plays. You could go double center, play Durr or Edie here, get a little bit higher price
Yeah,
of a
that's probably what
forward.
it is a good night for double center in my opinion.
Power would rather play Richard Simmons rather than Ben Simmons. Well, Richard Simmons has won me exactly $0 in DFS, and Ben Simmons has won me at least one.
There you
So,
go.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's Ben Simmons. I'm not going to force anyone to play him.
Schroeder starting for Warriors as expected. Nice. So, Nick, appreciate you joining me today. Let's attack this slate tonight, guys. We'll be in the Discord all night. Yeah, good luck. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.